This is the inside of the Auto Trail Imala 615. If I firstly come to the main control panel, we can see it's displaying the time, the temperature. It's giving us the voltage of the leisure battery. It's also letting us know that it's being charged at the moment as we're hooked up to the main supply. To turn the 12 volt on, just press the button just here. After that, we then have entrance lights on and off. All the other lights can then be turned on and off on their own switches. We then have the water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have warning light on and off, and then all other information is then given via scrolling. The camera doesn't pick up this screen particularly well, so I'll just explain what I'm seeing as we go through. So if I firstly just go back to the beginning, it will firstly say that this is a Sargent EC363 control panel. If I now press it again, it will give us the voltage of the leisure battery. Then after that, it will give us the voltage of the vehicle battery. Next, it will give us water levels, so how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. Battery selection, so if I now come down to the arrow here, I can switch between the vehicle and the leisure battery. So we can actually run the back end of the motorhome off the vehicle battery if required. Not a great thing to do, but it's handy in an emergency. We next have internal temperature and the internal humidity. Adjust the time just here. So you go back down to here again and then just press it for the hour and then press again and it will then go to the minute. And then we go back to the beginning again. If we now come across to the Truma control panel for the heating and the hot water system, again it's letting us know that we're hooked up to mains electricity. And if I now press the button, you'll see a series of icons appear, and as I rotate they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this one is for the heating. If I click on it, heating is off, and if I now begin to rotate, we can pick whatever temperature we would like it inside the motorhome, right the way up to 30 degrees. Once we've decided on a temperature, click the button to store it in, and you'll now see a little flames appeared above, and that flame there just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is actually in operation, that flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. If I now press again, we can now move along to the next icon, and this one here is for the hot water system. So if I now click on it, hot water is off, and again if I now rotate, we can heat hot water in eco mode, which is a temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, we can go into hot, which is about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can put the boiler in boost mode. Very handy if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession each other, or if you just want hot water very quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use the power to do the boost. And again, the icon will continue to flash until the temperature you've asked has been achieved. Next icon is power source. So we are currently using, to do the heating and the hot water system, mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, indicated by the 2 lightning strikes up here. If I rotate, I can lower the power consumption to main supply at 1 kilowatt, handy if we're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If we have both power sources available to us, we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts, or gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. Very handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature really quickly. It will only use the gas as it's required. And then lastly, if we have no main supply, we can just run on gas. After power source selection, we then have circulation fan for the heating system, so it can run in eco or high. If you turn off heating and hot water and go back to it, you can also use it just to vent as well. This bottom left hand icon is for a basic timer. If I now click on it, we can set a start time and then an end time. And then once we've done that, we then select what we would like on within that time period. Once we've done that, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer, now within that time period, those settings will apply. And if I now go back to it, I can turn it back off again. And when we go back in, we can then alter it again. Next we have clock set. And then lastly we have the settings menu. So we have offset just for the onboard thermostat. So if you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. We have temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of this screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these particular control panels may throw up an error code. And an error code will look something like this. You'll see you'll get some letters and numbers and then a warning triangle at the bottom. Then if you look in the manual or if you Google it, it will tell you what the problem is. This particular error code is just letting us know that we've lost main supply. The reason we've lost main supply is because I have gone over to where the consumer unit is and I've turned the isolator off up here. So if I turn it back on again and then we return to it, you'll see that the error has now disappeared. So 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, so if you've tripped, flick a trip switch up, or if you've run out of gas, replace the gas bottle, etc., the error code will just disappear. If it doesn't disappear, just double click on the warning triangle and then sometimes it will say no error and then go out. If that's still not working, if you've still got bits running up the top, just turn them all off because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If that still does not work, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again. Just hold this button in until it says off and then turn it back on. And if that still doesn't work, then do the factory reset because sometimes that's all these control panels require. If we now come over to the consumer unit, you'll see that we have the trip switches just here. So we have the 3 individual MCBs, main RCD and test button just here. So if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped. And we then have the 12 volt fuses just here. And again, they're all labelled up. So if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. Along the top here, as I've just explained, we have isolator switches for components that require main supply. So we have this green one here for the battery charger. So if we turn this off, whilst we're hooked up to the main supply, we will not be charging either the leisure battery or the vehicle battery. And we have this amber one here for the heating and hot water system. Again, turn it off and you're trying to run it on main supply, you will get that error code that you just saw. So really these can be left alone. They are more for maintenance than anything else. Also, we have full system shutdown. So if you're not using the motorhome for a prolonged period of time, you can press this black button here and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Also in here is the solar panel regulator, and we have the selector just down here. So if the rocker switch is in the middle, the solar panel is turned off. If we flick it to position 1, we will be using the solar panel to charge the vehicle battery, and if we flick it down, we will be using the solar panel to charge the leisure battery. It will give you a charge indicator just on here, and it will not overcharge either batteries, as the regulator will control that. Underneath this bench seat we just have storage. And then underneath this bench seat we have the leisure battery just here. You'll see we have the main 20 amp fuse just here for the battery. And then we have the Truma boiler just here, and the majority of the gas isolation taps for the motorhome. So we have fridge, barbecue, heating and hot water, and the cooker. These are all in the on position and can quite frankly stay like that. If you were to smell gas in the van, I always suggest that you go and turn it off at the source and turn the gas bottle off. To drain the boiler down for winterization, it's just done on this drain lever just here. So firstly, make sure that the water pump is turned off, and then lift up, and it will then begin draining all the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that if you are fully winterizing the motorhome, that you also open up all of the taps, because this will help release any airlocks in the system and help it to drain down properly. When it comes to refilling the boiler back up again, close all the taps, fill up the fresh water tank, make sure that the drain valve is flat back over again, turn on the water pump, let it run for a few minutes, and then start opening up the taps. They'll cough, they'll splutter as they force the air back out. Once they're running freely on hot and cold, close back up again, and then the system will fully reprime itself. Microwave just here. Do make sure that the contents are removed for travel. Will work when you are hooked up to the main supply, and it's plugged in just here. Normal sort of stuff. We have quick start just here and stop, and then we have power settings, wait time, defrost just here. Beneath that we have the Dometic fridge on and off just here. And then we have a picture of a 2-pin plug for mains supply. If we don't have mains connected, we can run the fridge on gas and just press the little flame, and it will then auto ignite itself. If it fails to light, it will begin to beep at you and you will get a red flashing light there. To make the fridge try again, just press the triangle. It does explain it just here and within the manual itself. And then lastly, we have 12 volt maintain, which will keep the fridge cold whilst we're on the move. The engine needs to be running. So if I press this at the moment, it's going to beep at us. Temperature control just here. And then we have the removable freezer box just there. It slides out by just undoing the 2 clips either side. Wardrobe. So within the wardrobe we just have the digital amplifier for the max view television aerial on the roof, on and off just underneath, and then control the boost just here. And then it's just a matter of turning the television on. These Avtex televisions do have a DVD player fitted as well. All the normal stuff you find on a TV. So we have TV guide just here. As this is a travel television, it has a fast retune button, which is this one here. Just press it and it will take you straight back to the retune menu, then just hit OK, and it will then begin to retune itself back in again. For travel, make sure that it's up and then fastened here, and then you will also find that there is this part just here that you just need to turn and it will click into place to make sure that it does not drop whilst the vehicle is in motion. Above my head just here is the Omnivent fan. To operate, firstly wind the roof vent open, and then we have middle button to turn the unit on. And then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. Hob just here, so we've got the electric hot plate, like the microwave will work when hooked up to mains electricity. Operates just here, and then we have the 3 gas rings, and it's just push in, twist and press the igniter. Beneath that we have the grille. And again, just push in, twist and push the igniter. And then the oven. Storage beneath the oven. But also underneath here, tucked at the back, is the water pump. And then we have 2 plugs plugged in, one being for the electric hot plate and the other one being for the sockets just here. If we now come into the washroom, we have the shower cubicle just here. Do make sure that the shower screen is secure for travel. Light switch just tucked up underneath the top cupboard. Cassette toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide the lever across. Push to flush just here. And then close to the cassette again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. And we have a level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. Beds are very easy in this particular model, so we can have single beds or one large double. To make the large double, we need to slide this section out and drop the leg down, and then do exactly the same on the other side, and then drop the cushions into place. You will see that you do get a small gap down the edge, and that is what the supplied infill is for.